Hello, everyone, and welcome into your Twin Flame reading. So, today we'll be taking a look at the energy within the Twin Flame Collective. We'll be looking at the Divine Feminine first, then Divine Masculine, then the energy of the connection. And so, remember the Divine Feminine energy, that's that chaser energy, the push energy, the awakened twin, the lead twin, however you want to refer to that energy. The Divine Masculine is usually that runner energy, the pull energy, the 3D twin, the following twin. So we'll take a look, then we'll pull some oracle cards as well and see what comes through. So go ahead and we'll start with Divine Feminine. And as a reminder, there have been some things happening with all these shifts into Aquarius lately. And so, for example, Mercury entered Aquarius, I believe it was yesterday. And so that had a lot to do with, well, here, I'll leave that out there since that one flipped. Ace of Wands in reverse. Had a lot to do with sudden insights. And then we do have the new moon in Aquarius on the 9th. And that is going to be about bringing in some changes, kind of ready to start planning for the future. And then on, I believe it's the 13th, there's another planet that goes direct, or that goes into Aquarius. I'm trying to remember which one it is. It might be Mars, but so it's about unconventional thinking and new ideas coming in and wanting to make positive changes in your life. So overall, since we had that flip energy, that Ace of Wands in reverse energy, that's a little bit of this sense of kind of like a lack of creativity, some lost chances or promises that were maybe abandoned. So there's that sort of energy hanging out there. But let's take a look. So this is for Divine Feminine. The first card is this is the push from the universe. And then we have our how you're showing up in the 3D, how you're showing up in the soul space, your challenge card, advice from spirit, and the likely outcome. So here, the push from the universe is 5 of Wands. How you're showing up in the 3D is 4 of Pentacles in reverse. How you're showing up in the soul space is 7 of Cups in reverse, and I'll go through all these in a minute. The challenge is 7 of Swords. Advice from Spirit is the World in reverse. And then likely outcome is the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. So when we start looking at each of these pieces individually, the push from the universe, this card is about conflict and rivalry. So when you look at that, the main figure here is fighting all of these dragons, but how you're showing up in the 3D is this very generous, overgiving type of energy, and that's in the 3D. But then in the soul space, it seems like there's some confusion and some distraction. So it's like there's this sense of, at a soul level, kind of not really knowing what to do. And, how you're showing up when you don't really know what to do is just, well, I'm just going to keep being generous and keep giving to the situation. But it's almost like the push that's coming in, like the energy that's coming in from the universe, is about conflict. So it's almost that sense of, okay, you're playing nice and you're, paint on a happy face, paint on that smile, even though there's something that needs to be addressed. So, if there's this sense of things that have, like, you've lost your chances at doing certain things and promises have been broken, like there's this energy of, yes, you should confront that. You should do something about that. So it's not, when we talk about having like some conflict in here, or anger, sometimes that's the right emotion. So there's a little bit of that sense, kind of from a spiritual standpoint of, if you're on a spiritual path, it means that you're calm and peaceful, and you don't ever get overly excited about anything. And that's not necessarily true. I love it. This is an example at the end of one of Matt Kahn. You can find him on YouTube. He does a lot of different videos about love and enlightenment and awakening and all of that. And it's this little quick joke or story, that this person who's working on their enlightenment and on their path is in a car with an enlightened Buddha, and another car swerves into their lane, almost hitting them. And so the driver just takes a deep breath and says, I forgive them. I know they know not what they do. And Buddha leans over and honks the horn, and the driver looks at him and says, well, why'd you do that? And Buddha says, because sometimes that's what you have to do when people are being a-holes. And, so it's that idea that keeping a smiling, happy, generous, giving persona isn't 100% or isn't the right thing to do 100% of the time. Maybe you are supposed to get angry. Emotions aren't good or bad. They're just pointing you to something. So sometimes anger it's almost like that's the fiercest protector of your inner child, because that's the one that says, no, hold on. I am not being treated right. And so if that's the push that's coming in, if there have been a lot of broken promises for you and, opportunities that aren't coming through, you do have a reason to be upset about it. So let those feelings flow through. And as I said, with the Seven of Cups in reverse, that's a little bit of this sense of like confusion and distracted at the soul level, almost as if, what should I do? Should I be continuing to focus on this twin flame path and journey, or should I be focusing on myself? What should I do? So there's a little bit of that kind of going round and round. And the challenge here is the deception and lies and cheating. So if that's what's happening within your dynamic with your masculine, that's going to be the challenge, is where's the deception coming from? What about the lies? It's also, some of this is going to be the lies that you're telling yourself. And it could be the lies you're telling yourself around what this journey is. Because remember, this is not a journey of, oh my gosh, writing the most epic love story ever seen. It's a journey of your own soul growth and your own soul development. It really is your ascension journey. So some of it is also going to be the challenge of you staying, I'll call it, on task and focused as to what is the purpose of this journey. Advice from Spirit. This is a sense of seeking closure and some delays. Like normally when the world is upright, that means a cycle has been closed out. When it's like this, it's still sitting open. And the idea here is that you might be getting frustrated in your journey thinking, I should be further along, things should be different. And some of this delay of keeping this cycle from closing is because you haven't learned whatever the lesson is that this is trying to teach you. So the idea with delays and struggles and hardships, and people think that that's not a good thing. Those struggles are making you slow down and take your time to learn the right lesson before trying to move on. Because if you move on when you haven't actually learned the lesson, when you haven't gotten to that place of understanding and growth, if you just skip by, it's going to cause problems later. So if you're building a brick wall, the base level needs to be sturdy before you do the next one. You can't have things that are all falling apart, because the bigger the wall gets, the more likely it's going to fall down. So if you haven't learned your lessons, sometimes the delays and the struggles that you're coming up against, that's divine timing saying, no, you're not ready. You haven't quite learned that lesson. So that delay is actually protecting you. With the likely outcome here, having some, apathy or rivalry or conflict, this is, you're going to feel this way if you're not understanding and respecting why the struggles are there to begin with. So since we talk about this as being, the twin flame journey is a soul ascension, awakening journey. It's not, soulmates, but better. If you're really not understanding that at the core level, you're going to end up feeling really, really frustrated, and you're going to almost feel like a sense of apathy towards the whole thing. Like, oh, this is ridiculous. It's so much work. Where's the good part coming in. So overall, the feeling, the feeling within the Divine Feminine Collective, and I've been seeing echoes of this in different groups that I'm in, different readers that I watch, is there has been a little bit more of a shift recently from the feminine being in that super strong chaser energy to pulling back and pulling that energy back into her, like back into yourself, like pull it back into you. And it does almost feel like a certain sense of apathy, because if you were in heavy chaser energy for a long time, that almost, it's like that gave you purpose every day, that, oh, I have to shower the divine feminine in affection and dote on them and do all these things and try to advance this connection. And once you start to pull that back into you, there is that lull period of, but what am I doing? Like, eh, what's going on? And so it does feel uncomfortable when you make that transition back into you. If you're, especially if you're not really, I'll call it, on board with understanding what the push is behind this journey to begin with. So that it's going to lead to some apathy there. But let's take a look and see what the next levels of energy are that are coming in for Divine Feminine. All right. 1, 2, 3. All right. So we've got all in reverse. Queen of Swords in reverse, 3 of Swords in reverse, and 10 of Cups in reverse. And then after that, the next level of energy is 3 of Wands in reverse, Judgment in reverse, and Knight of Swords. So as we look at it, the interesting thing, when you start looking at some of these, something that stands out is the threes. We have 3 of Wands, 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords, and they're all in reverse. So the one that's missing out of all of this is the 3 of Cups. And sometimes what's missing is what is speaking loudest in terms of what needs some focus and attention. So in terms of what, if we're looking at the 3 of Cups, the 3 of Cups is that celebration. It's that sense of friendship and community. And so if you're in this position of thinking, oh my goodness, this journey, you're missing the celebration part of it. You're missing what is it that you should be, focusing on the positive parts of the journey. You're getting stuck in your head on the negative parts. And threes are about creativity as well. So there's also that sense of, how do we creatively try to shift some of this thinking on the journey? So, okay, let's take a look. This first level of, or kind of next level of energy coming in, we have our Queen of Swords in reverse. And so that's kind of a bitter, critical type of energy. Your 3 of Swords in reverse does have a sense of optimism and forgiveness. So you're forgiving the heartbreak that has happened and kind of moving on from that. But there is also this sense of like trouble at home and some separation, because you don't have that domestic harmony and bliss. So that's an energy that's going to be coming through in the Divine Feminine Collective. Now, something to keep in mind is sometimes you're feeling the energy from your partner as well. So depending on what your situation is. But yeah, so the 3 of Swords in reverse is a little bit more optimistic, just because you have that sense of, forgiveness and moving on. But there is that bitterness and cruelty type of energy coming in because of the fact that there's trouble at home and that there's a separation. So if this is it, it's probably that you and your twin are not communicating as much as you want. And so in terms of the trouble at home, if you're in a relationship with another partner, you could be having conflicts there, but this kind of points a little bit more to twin flame separation. So not as much communication, interaction as you would like. And so it has a little bit of an air of bitterness, but there is a bit of a sense of moving on. The next level of energy, though, coming in is frustration and obstacles. And, just not really, because of the fact that this kind of keeps going up and down, like it's cycling more than you would like it to. So there's the sense of, you know, frustration there, and that you're clinging to the past, and that you're letting a lot of doubt come in, and there is a sense of that you're not learning from the past, like you're clinging to the past and you're not learning from it. But then the counter to that is like, go for it. The Knight of Swords is that go for it type of energy, but make sure that it's not a rash move, you know. So this isn't necessarily a calculated, hey, we're going to go for it. It's a little bit of that like impulsivity of, you know what, yeah, let's just do it. You know, he's on his bull, some sort of thing, and he's going for it. And so the cautionary piece with that is to make sure that you're not overshooting it. Like if you're clinging to the past and you feel like you haven't learned from the past, don't let that swing the pendulum totally in the other direction for you. So that is the energy that's happening for the divine feminine. So now let's take a look at divine masculine. All right, so looking at divine masculine, let's see what messages are coming through. What is going on with divine masculine? Oh, overall, we have our flip card was the Page of Wands card. So that's some happiness and a little bit of optimism going on divine masculine side. Some excitement. So let's see what that excitement is about. Oh. All right. Oh, I'm catching all these cards underneath here. Okay, so in the recent past, we have the Four of Wands, or not recent past, sorry. The Push from the Universe is the Four of Wands in reverse. We have our Knight of Swords as how they're showing up in the 3D. How they're showing up in the soul space is Ten of Cups. Oh, that's beautiful. The Challenge is the Strength card. Push from or advice from Spirit is Seven of Pentacles in reverse. The likely outcome is Seven of Wands in reverse. So the message from the universe, or the push from the universe, is the Four of Wands in reverse. And so, you know, this is usually a twin flame card, the Four of Wands, because it has the 11-11. I mean, granted, even when it's in the reverse, it's still 11-11. And with that coming in, that is a card about self-doubt and also family discord. And if the divine masculine is in an existing relationship, kind of that energy is that is maybe being upset. Whatever that home life is being upset. Because how they're showing up in the 3D is that, you know, let's charge in, let's get things done type of energy. In the soul space, they're sitting here in this happy, harmonious. This is also, you know, for a lot of readers, this is another twin flame card, the 10 of Cups. Like that's the ultimate, you know, happy, emotionally fulfilled. Like that's how they're showing up in the soul space. So the challenge is going to be with the Strength card. The challenge is going to be that lack of courage or that weakness of following through on that. So this is what's coming in. Like the universe is teeing it up for divine masculine of if there's a third party situation, that they need to move away from that to come towards their happiness. And so the challenge is, will they follow through? Because a lot of times that energy will kind of wax and wane, and okay, I'm going to do it. Oh, no, I can't. So that's going to be the challenge there. And advice from Spirit on the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is, okay, you have to make sure you're following through, because this card is about lacking effort and like abandoning projects. So they're, you know, working on it, and then it's like, yeah, and they kind of just lose steam a little bit. And so the problem, like this whole string along the bottom here about the challenge being the follow through part and having that strength. And then with, you know, with this advice from Spirit coming in with that sense of, watch out, don't abandon your project in the middle of it, and the likely outcome being this sense of exhaustion and burnout and surrender. This is that cycle of that divine masculine will start to move forward, and then it's like, oh, and then they get scared, and then they kind of fall back. And so that's going to be one of the challenges. So with the strength card too, there you can see the infinity sign there, and this is kind of the energy of twin flames in general. You kind of go, with that sign, you kind of go, and the energy builds and builds, and then it crashes, and then it starts to build and build and crash and build and build. And when you're both on that same cycle of building, you're going to have the overlap there. But the energy is going to kind of keep flowing in and out. So that's a interesting, I guess, observation there. Is it's kind of getting to that point in time where divine masculine needs to follow through, because otherwise it's just going to be another cycle of burnout if they can't follow through. But with the Page of Wands, this part up here is suggesting that there's enough momentum and enough energy to combat the bottom line there. So let's see what the next levels of energy coming in are for divine masculine. All right. So we've got 7 of Cups, we have 10 of Swords in reverse, and 9 of Wands in reverse. And then the next level after that, we have Page of Swords, we have the Chariot, and we have the Moon in reverse. So the next level of energy coming in, this is a little bit of indecisive in terms of making choices, because on this card you can see with the 7 of Cups, there's too many choices. Like all the cups have different things in them, so it's almost like that sense of being overwhelmed, that there's too many choices. But there is a sense of, they're turning a corner, and they are moving on. They're learning their lessons. There is some exhaustion that's coming in here with this 9 of Wands in reverse. So they're getting tired of this cycle looping and looping, and they're getting tired of feeling like, oh my gosh, everything's so up in the air. But they are at a point of acknowledging that and realizing they can't keep going through that cycle. So one of the things to point out here is we have our 7 of Cups, 7 of Wands, 7 of Pentacles. So the one that's missing is the 7 of Swords. So that's the one that's about lies and cheating and deception. And so with that one being missing, that is kind of pointing to the fact that divine masculine is starting to be more honest with themselves. So they're moving out of this mindset of like putting the blinders on. So they're realizing, and that's what's contributing to some of this happiness, like in the soul space, they're realizing kind of what direction they need to go. So yes, it's going to take courage, it's going to take strength, but at least there's that awareness. And that's what's creating some of this excitement, is there's this awareness of, okay, let's move things forward in a different direction. And then the next level of energy coming in after that is a sense of having some excitement, and there's planning for the future, and it's fast moving energy. So kind of the whole idea of once they realize this and identify that, okay, this is what needs to happen. I need to turn a corner. Let's get it done. So they're planning for it. It's fast moving. And then there is a little bit of like confusion, and you do have to, they're kind of letting go of their fears because they're turning their back on the lies and the trickery and the deceit that's been happening. So this is good, fast moving energy going in a positive direction. All right. So then that was for divine masculine. So let's take a look at the connection overall and see what is coming through overall for the connection. Okay. So push from the universe is the 4 of Wands. Oh, beautiful. And in the 3D, it's the Lovers in reverse. In the 5D, it's the Chariot. The challenge card is the King of Pentacles in reverse. Push from Spirit, or advice from Spirit, is King of Cups in reverse. Likely outcome is the Tower. All right. So the push from the universe is the Four of Wands. That is that energy. That is the push to try to get the twins together in union. So down here, when we're looking at what is the challenge with the King of Pentacles in reverse, that is a sense of like a misuse of power. It's got some Aries energy in there and some Taurus energy. So that's kind of that strong, fiery energy, but being directed in the wrong way. So within the connection itself, it's saying that the challenge here is there's an imbalance of power. Both twins are not on equal footing. And so regardless of what the reason is, like take a look at that within your own twin flame dynamic and where is that imbalance coming from? If your twin flame scenario involves third party energy, that's a huge imbalance of power and energy there. So advice from Spirit is it's kind of this idea of, there's emotions that are being suppressed that need to come out. And so within the connection itself needs to be able to breathe freely. So the connection needs to be able to express its emotions. So when there's an imbalance of power and things are off, where maybe one of the two twins can't express themselves, then it leads to this sense of within the connection having like some worry and some stress. But it's also about, since that's with suppressed emotions, the connection can't fully live and breathe the way it wants to because there's other dynamics, whether it's third party or whatnot. So in terms of the Tower, and don't get worried, and here we have some Aries energy here with the Tower as well. Don't get worried that this means, oh my gosh, the whole connection is falling apart. What it does mean is that there's a big change coming up within the connection for the twins. And it's a sudden change and it's an upheaval. A lot of times people associate this with, oh my gosh, it's terrible, something's ending, I'm losing my job, I'm getting kicked out of my house, my relationship is failing. But it's something within the dynamic is falling away to be able to give rise to something new. Because remember, within a twin flame connection, you are the same soul. So it's not like, oh, this relationship isn't working out. This isn't a breakup scenario. You two are connected. You're the same soul. So it's a matter of something big is changing for the connection. And having that faith and trust in the process, that's a good thing. Because the push coming in is for the Four of Wands. So that's the energy that's coming in. So let's go ahead and take a look at some oracle cards. Oh, communication is key. And expect powerful change. So there you go. Expect the powerful change coming within the connection. And then communication is the key. So this is Gemini card, and the Lovers is Gemini as well. So how you're, this thing of how you're showing up in the 3D with the Lovers in reverse. Yes, it's the two are physically not together, there's a little bit of, and this is also about imbalance as well. So it's not that fully integrated divine masculine, divine feminine, which actually using Amazonite, this is about balancing your masculine and feminine. So that's a good stone. It also looks like this as well, in case you were wondering. But communication there is key to be able to bring some of that integration in. And some of that, depending on your scenario, you may not have a lot of 3D communication right now. It may be more 5D communication. All right, let's take a look. A couple other cards. See what wants to come out. Success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. So some of this is kind of tying back at different points in this. It looks like the overall story is related to twins, and this may not apply to your twin flame dynamic. So as always, take only what resonates. Don't try to force this to be your story if it's not. But it seems that the storyline here is one of, the situation where the divine feminine has kind of gotten burned out a little bit, and kind of in that place of, what's going on? Like, is this really the right path? What am I supposed to be doing? And at the same time as the divine feminine kind of having that type of energy, the divine masculine energy is ramping up, like, no, okay, let's get this, because they had the Four of Wands in reverse, like the push from the energy. Hey, let's move this connection forward. And they are looking at moving it forward. They are sitting in this really happy soul space. And so it's almost kind of like that flip of the energies. So the goal here is to bring them back into balance. Ooh, let's see what happened with this one. They love you more than they're telling you. So divine feminines, don't get discouraged. They do love you more than they're telling you. And that was a flip card, so we'll put one. And try a new hobby. So sometimes a distraction is good. If you're wondering about your journey and, what's going on, if you're focused so much on your journey, you're losing sight of all your other gifts. And so sometimes just trying something new, being around different people can help alleviate some of that sense of, what am I doing? I'm just trudging through the day. All right, and let's pull, this is from the Twin Flame deck. Sometimes these are kind of weird when they come out. Receiving cosmic intelligence, divine creativity. So that's beautiful. And it actually looks like that goes really well with that one. The success, that I know there's no greater goal than to love. So you're getting that push in terms of cosmic intelligence, being pushed in that space of love. And if you're feeling challenged or triggered that you're not getting that as much out of your connection as you used to or as you want to, try, the whole thing of like, try a new hobby. That's a good way to focus your attention on you, pull that energy back into you. And it's not, go out and try a new dating website, because that's not what you're wanting to do. It's develop you as a person. What makes your soul happy? And that will help raise your vibration. And it does help bring the connection into better alignment when one of the two of you is actively raising your vibration. It pulls the other one along with you. So I hope today's message has been helpful for you. As always, take only what resonates. If this does not feel like your storyline within your twin flame connection, don't try to force it on. Don't try to force this reading onto your scenario. But I will do one of these readings about once a week. So check back for the next one. And as always, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell if you want to be alerted when new videos post. I will have a number of new videos posting to the channel. Next week, I'll also have the ones for the second half of February. So I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.